So they are with us today, Christopher 2X and also Christie Welch. They are the game changers, the 2X game changers. So, Christie, you have Voices of Survivors. What is that, and what do we hope that will change?
Voices of Survivors is a place for people who have been affected by gun violence to come and find community and a place to truly feel safe and understood. So many times this group of people aren't really understood, and they're not catered to by the mainstream media or even their community, because no one knows what it means to go through that loss of a life that close to your family by something so horrendous as murder, as just random acts of violence that you just happen to be walking on the street for. And you know, it's just really aimed at creating community, and then also a way for us to start coming together as a community to start brainstorming, how do we take our city back from the violence that is so prevalent among the youth and where we live.
So this loss of hope, how do we return that ability to look to the future? Because as you and I were talking, some of the young kids I talk to, you talk to them too, they're like, I'm never going to be an adult. Maybe I'll make it to my 20s, but they don't think they're going to be around for longer than that.
Yeah.
How do we turn that into something different?
You know, that's a very hard question. That's a very hard question, because what does it even mean to be in your 20s and not even thinking that you'd make it to 30? I mean, this is a problem. This is a public health crisis that's going on, that's affecting so many people. And if the younger generation isn't able to dream and to think of better solutions for the future, this whole entire society and world will collapse, because it's up to us, the younger generation, to come in and bring those new ideas, bring those new voices, bring those new innovations and changes. And if that's not able to happen, all of us are going to suffer. And so I think it has to be about everyone in the community understanding that this is everyone's issue and not just individual places.
Yeah, it is a health crisis, because it's not going to just stay in one neighborhood. It's not going to just affect one person. What can we do for you, Christopher? What do you need from this community? How can we help?
Well, and more or less from Game Changers, it's more or less let us be that link and connect to others who Christie was just describing. Those who are impacted, from families to children and all that. And of course, they can get a hold of us at 2xgamechangers.org. Again, 2xgamechangers.org. And we'd be willing to talk to you all about ways you can help.
All right. And does that mean time, money, resources?
Combination of all, whatever people are comfortable with, Don.
It's funny, I've had people who say, I want to give this to, to Chris. How do I get them? And here, hold on, let's do that. Yeah. You've given masks, to the kids maybe that haven't had masks, and you talk to little ones all the way up to adults. As people in the community, other than, I think for myself, I always say, cut people a little slack. You don't know what somebody else is going through. I don't care if you live next door to them, or sometimes even in the same house. Just to be kinder to each other, and not so easy to trigger. You don't always have to be right, and you don't always have to confront someone. What do you suggest to those of us who are in the community? What can we do just as people in this community?
Well, again, you don't have to be on ground zero to make a difference. Like Christie just described, this is a public health crisis. It's like, Dawne, and you know about medical issues. At the end of the day, we advocate against, we advocate for cancer awareness. We advocate for heart disease awareness. We got to do the same as it relates to this reckless gun violence, in the sense that we have to be advocates against the symptoms that cause and lead to these behavioral issues at a certain point in life that just is going to devastate not only the perpetrator's family, but the families who are directly impacted by this. So early intervention is a must. Those models that you and I are redundant about wait till high school years to try to intervene, is out the door. When we see these behavioral issues, treat it like a symptom of a disease and start to attack it in the best way that you can try to help. And there's many ways to help. The key thing, lastly, Don, for me, is how serious of a matter do we see this compared to other issues in the community?
I also think, too, we need to take that shame and that stigma off of mental health issues, whether it is stress, anxiety, depression, drug use. I don't care what it is. There is no shame connected.
None whatsoever, and I agree with you, Dawne. The shame issue has got to go.
It's got to go. When
we deal with health issues, Dawne, you know, whether you're poor or well-to-do, you know how to go to the primary care physician. You know how to go to emergency medical services at the ER and other places. We got to think the same way about behavioral issues and mental health issues. Don't be ashamed. Let's seek the help.
Yeah, we want to whisper about that. Christie, did we miss anything that we can do for you in Voices of Survivors before we go? Any message you want to make sure you get across?
I think the only message I would like to get across is just for those victims of gun violence who have left, you know, with this big gaping hole that you feel in your heart, please reach out to us so we can be that family and that community and resource for you to receive the coping that you need to deal with this loss of life.
All right. I appreciate you all more than you will ever know. 2xgamechangers.org. They are here. If you want to be part of it, please reach out to them. All right. When we come back.